Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Let's bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and you are listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, a rock and roll show all about pets, people, and pop culture. I'm live from Las Vegas, and today I'm talking about how to prepare your pets for the big Independence Day celebration and a lady called Temple Grandin. So stay right there, I'll be right back.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hello, listeners. I'm Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs, and you're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. We're a rock and roll show, and we're all about pets, people, and pop culture. And we are live from sunny Las Vegas. I have Jim in studio with me today, my co-host and husband.
Correct. On both accounts, and I am here and ready to go.
Good. And just one other furry co-host, and that's Miss Thornton. She's in studio today, and Mr. Twix is down at the groomers. So
he wasn't happy today about it.
It's interesting because he really, really loves our groomer. Maybe he doesn't like the location because she's moved into a veterinarian's office. And I have a feeling he's picking up on all the feelings of the other pets that are in there and the people who are bringing their pets in there.
He might be. He was a bit skittish today. Did you see the picture I sent you, by the way?
No, I haven't had time this morning.
You need to see
I'll
it.
get round to that. But yeah, I guess you sent me a picture of a duplicate Mr. Twix.
He was a doppelganger.
He was a doppelganger. Well, so that's where he is right now. So we'll see how he did, because normally he is never worried and never.
I'm going to show you the picture of him
concerned.
right now.
Oh yes, whose dog is that?
That's Max.
He's cute.
It's one of your new listeners that I just created for you as well.
Well, thank you very much.
She'll be checking in today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So that's Max. He's cute. He's lovely. We also got to meet another lovely gentleman last night. We went over to our friend's house for a lovely dinner. All animal lovers that were at this party at our friend's house, Sam. And we've had Sam on the show before. Her dog her dog Baby Roger. She's had a lot of dogs. Baby Roger. Lincoln was the love of her life. Baby Roger is a blood donor. And so we had her on the show to talk about her dog, Baby Roger, and how he saves lives. So, of course, we saw Roger. I've met Roger before. And Lulu. Lulu's quite the little character, isn't she, Jim? And their newest rescue, Grandpa Ralph. And he is deaf, and he has just fit into the family so seamlessly. Like, he's been there all along. And the other two dogs, oh, do they like him? Especially Lulu. She's acting like little mommy to him. And it's lovely to see more animals get rescued, particularly when it's your friends. You just get really excited. I was so excited about seeing him last night. I couldn't wait, and he's doing very well. He looks like he's a Lhasa Apso Shih Tzu combo. I think he's a combination of the two because he's got that long body like Mr. Twix has.
But he's just an old grandpa.
He's 13. He gets around great, though. You wouldn't think he was 13 in a million years. But that was lovely to meet him as well last night. So he lucked out and they lucked out. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, if you're new to the show and if you're one of our regular listeners, we're so glad that you've tuned in today. We've got a great show lined up for you. If you'd like to connect with us elsewhere on the internet, we of course have a website, and that is vegasrockdogradio.com. And you'll see us on Periscope, Facebook, of course, Twitter, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram. Just look for Vegas Rock Dog or Vegas Rock Dog Radio or the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs. That's me. We have a blog. Our blog is the rockandrolldog.com. On the blog, I have some adorable finds for Independence Day, July the 4th celebrations. I will also be putting up exactly what we're going to talk about today, which is some tips for this time of year where there are fireworks going off, and we'll end up with a monsoon season soon, so with lightning, thunder, all that stuff. I'll put some great tips up there for you, but they'll come straight after the show as well. Now you'll also find us on the Yap app, yapp.us. And you'll download that free app, and then you'll download Vegas Rock Dog Radio onto the app, and then you'll be the first in the know when we actually do something new on the show, or we'll let you know who's coming on the show. Exciting news. And now, of course, if you don't get to listen to the show live every single week, we know you're very busy and people love things on demand. You can go to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spoke, which is the new Sirius XM app that we've just got our show onto, and any other podcast listening app that you may have, you'll probably find us, and it's Vegas Rock Dog Radio.
How do you find all these media?
I work very hard every week. You mean the platforms?
Platforms.
Yeah, I connect with a lot of companies and get the content on these platforms so that more people can listen to the show. And if you can find us easily on any platform, then my job has been done. And that's pretty easy. So you can catch up on episodes. And it's a great time to actually catch up on them when you're going to work and you're leaving work. Or on a weekend, like we have now, where there's a big celebration coming up, which is July the 4th, Independence Day. And you're going to be in the car. You're going to be in the car. So you can actually listen to the show that way quite easily. Were you going to say something? I saw you take a big pause there.
I'm just waiting in case it is time for me to respond. I'm just kind of getting in sync with you today. That's all.
Okay. All right.
I've been up all day and you haven't, so
I'm not even going down that path. Yeah, no, we're not going down that path this morning. No, we're not going to, because you're going to lose.
Yeah, I always do on Saturday.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the week. Oh gosh, I said to myself last week, I am not going to have another crazy week, and I had another crazy week. Lots of stuff going on. There's some good news popping up in town here in Vegas. Now, this show we do is an international show. We have listeners from all over the world, so we don't always focus everything on Vegas, because that would be pointless for a lot of people who listen into the show. So we cover everything internationally, and that way we get to bring on guests from all over the world as well. We've got a great guest coming on next week. We've had him on before, but it's a perfect time to bring Phil Chang back on, and he's part of Hubba. He's the resident retail expert. Now, we have a big pet conference that happens here in Vegas in July, and that is Super Zoo. I'm lucky. I live here. I can just drive in, and I've been there every year for 12 years. But Phil Chang, we've had on the show before. He's a retail expert, and he's a retail expert he was talking about the pet sector. It's huge, as a lot of you already know, because you probably already spend your money in that sector as well. But he's actually going to be speaking at Super Zoo, which is great. So I'm taking full advantage of the fact that he's going to come into town, meet up. We're going to do some kind of trend stuff and probably have a cocktail. I think he likes mojitos, he was telling me yesterday, because when I was organizing the date for him to come on the show, I gave him the wrong date, but the right day. And then he said, "Do you mean?" And I said, "Yeah, my brain is fried this week." And he said, "Oh, I get you. We're just already starting on the mojitos in the office." So, and I wanted to know, why was I not there?
You don't like mojito? What is a mojito?
I do like a mojito.
Is that a summery drink?
Yeah, it is a nice summery drink. Pam likes them too. My friend Pam loves a mojito. Well, anyway, he's going to be in town.
Do you want me to take you for a mojito today?
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
I think you should. I think it's a
I'll
great...
make you one here in the house.
I don't think we have any ingredients, do we?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's easy to just go get one. So Phil's going to be in town, but I'm bringing him on the show next week. What we're going to do is we're going to tell you what to expect when you come to Super Zoo. And we're going to talk about some current trends. And this is going to be great for people who purchase pet products. This is going to be good for people who sell pet products. This is going to be good for bloggers who write about pet products. It's going to be a great show next week. Make sure that we promote this well on social media to get as many people tuning in. Now, another little piece of news in town that I don't think I even spoke to you about, Jim, is there's a cat cafe coming to town called Meow or Never.
For me, that would be a breathing death cafe.
It would be.
So we'll just rename it.
So I'll just be going by myself because Jim cannot do that. You know, it's sad. He could never stay at my sister's house because of the cat. The cats, could you?
I think I'm better at it.
Do you think you're outgrowing it a little bit?
Yeah, when I grow up, I'll
When you grow up, you might be fine, yeah. So Meow or Never is coming to town. That's all I know. I think it's Summerlin. I don't know any more details other than, of course, there will be cats for adoption, and I think they've partnered with the Nevada SPCA. I love that. Cats don't get enough airtime, and cats need more airtime, and so this is a great step in the right direction. Now, this week, Jim did not get to experience this, but I made my doggy ice cream for my dogs. And the reason I say he didn't get to experience it is because he could eat it too. And I think I talked about that last week. I made some for the dogs. It's really simple. Just plain yogurt, bananas, and peanut butter. Blend it up. Pour it into ice cube trays or into little small dishes, and not copious amounts. You don't want to go crazy. This is a treat for your pets. And Mr. Twix and Thornton, well, they thought all their Christmases had come at once. They laid there and licked and licked and licked and licked and licked to their heart's content.
He hug his bowl?
He hugs his bowl, and it's cute. It's cuter than anything. So I tried that recipe. It was a recipe from Dr. Karen Becker, and it was great, and it worked fabulously, and they loved me for it. So that's the kind of week we've been having. It's been a bit random. Oh, actually, I tell you what we did do. Escapology.
Fantastic.
Tell everyone about escapology. It's got nothing to do with pets, but
apparent. And I don't know a lot about it because I went there with no expectations. I wanted to just enjoy and see what we were about to experience. But a group of us went. It's a company that I believe started in another country. Escapology.
I don't know.
They started somewhere on another country's soil, but it's rapidly expanding all over the world. And there's several locations here in Las Vegas. You basically go to this facility, you sign up as a team, and you go to
choose a theme room.
You choose a theme room, and you are coached by like a game master.
Yes.
Who greets and meets you, and you are briefed basically that, hey, this is your scenario. You've chosen scenario A, and the scenario A is you have to solve these clues, solve these mysteries, use the tools in this room. You know, it might be a laboratory, or it might be a crime scene, or some exotic land this room represents, and there are clues in there, and you have to unlock clues, to solve clues, to find keys, to open up cabinets, to find new clues,
to unlock locks.
You work your way as a team. You have to work as a team to get through these challenges so that you can escape the room.
You have to escape the room. It's funny because I think everybody said, "Is it scary?" And I'm sure they're going to. In their own heads are going to, are you handcuffed or tied up or something? I swear everyone said that. But people solve problems in different ways. So everyone can look at the same puzzle, and everyone can have a different way of looking at it and solving it. Oh, there was the periodic chart we had to work with.
Well, tell them we were in
the antidote room. Yeah, we had to find an antidote.
We had to solve a problem to
for a virus.
For a virus that was going to destroy the Earth.
And at one point, I was in one of those crazy-looking hazmat suits. It was way too big for me. But it was fantastic. We had to turn the lights off. We had to shine a light on this. We had to look in test tubes. It was fantastic. You have 60 minutes to do it. We were in the easiest room, and we did not get out.
We made it all the way to the last clue.
That's not getting out. My heart started to sink as the time was running away, and I started panicking. And we were trying every code possible. It was hilarious at the end. but we didn't get out. And you know what? I want to go back. I want to go
You
back.
can't do that challenge. Once you do a challenge, they keep your email and your information, so they don't let you back into the same challenge, even if you show up with a different group of people.
Yeah. So you choose a different theme. And I was saying, I don't know who these people are that put these clues and everything together. Geniuses. And then straight after that, we went to Planet Hollywood. Our friend Murray Sawchuk, who we do charity events with, he's a celebrity magician. He was having a YouTube party because he has just cracked 100,000 subscribers. So we bombed over there, said congratulations. And a friend of mine that was there, Mark, and I was chit-chatting with him. He's another magician. I know every magician in town. And I mentioned where we just come from, and the gentleman stood next to him, whose name is...
Bizarro.
Is he a magician?
Yeah, he's a magician as well.
He said, "Oh yeah, I created the puzzles, basically the challenge for 2 of those rooms." So after saying, "Who on earth puts these together?" I met the guy who did 2 of the rooms. So that was very interesting. But yes, go back now. Well, I guess I can tie it into pets. I'm going to ask them if they'll do a fundraiser for us for animal rescue. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, I'll be so excited. Oh my gosh. And you can have teams up to teams of 8. So potentially we could have 80 people there, 8 in each room. And, I don't know how they work it out, whether it's they give you money back off the ticket. I don't know how that works, or they let us run an auction while we're there, whatever. I can't wait. It's so much fun. But I start to get anxiety in the last 5 minutes because it tells you as the time's ticking away. And he's like, oh my gosh, try this combination for the lock. Oh, it's hilarious. And then we found at the end that there was a cupboard that was just open and we'd not even thought to even open the door. Very, very...
It was overwhelming.
Oh, yes. Because there's so much. And you're looking at things and trying to say, to yourself, is this a clue? What does this mean? And obviously some things are a bit of a red herring and they put you off on a purpose. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So if I can get a fundraiser going here in Vegas and you're listening in and you want to be part of it, just go to our page, Vegas Rock Dog Radio, because if we do it, we will post it on there and you can come and join us. Great fun. Great, great, great fun. Well, I'll tell you what, Jim. Let's take a quick break. We need to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Independence Day, July the 4th, big celebrations, and what it means for our pets. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
At Carl's Jr., not only do we make you happy with our delicious charbroil burgers, we also make your dogs happy. Come through our drive-thru with your furry friends and we'll offer them a treat. We love to see their smiling faces. Our website, carlsjroflasvegas.com, has a treat in store for its customers too, with free coupons anytime, so visit us often. Carl's Jr. is a proud and active supporter of animal adoption in our community. You can find us at carlsjroflasvegas.com.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hello, everyone. We're back, and we're about to talk about... It's going to feel like the longest July the 4th Independence Day celebration because it's not till Tuesday, and of course it's Friday now. And people are starting to celebrate already. What about you, Jim? Have you even thought about it yet?
No, because we've got this tradition now to where we stay home to keep the dogs from, being overly stressed.
Oh, yeah, and that's
I remember I loved going to the parades in the morning, and we do the parade.
We do the parade.
We'll do the parade again this year up in Boulder City, probably.
And do not take your pets. If you're going to parades in Vegas, do not take your pets. Every year, that's the one thing that upsets me when we go out on the parades, is it's absolutely far too hot for the pets. It's hot for us, but we can endure it, and we know how to control ourselves.
We would do the parade and have a nice lunch up in Boulder City.
Yeah.
Go home, chill out, and then, go out and wherever we decided we wanted to see fireworks, what part of town, and we would do that at night. But now we go home, we close all the curtains on the house, we turn on TV, And we just let the dogs, stay close by so that they don't get stressed. I don't think Mr. Twix is really bothered, but Thornton gets
He's
a
pretty
little
good.
skittish.
He's quite good. Well, last night, I've had some freaky things happen that have upset the dogs, and a freak thing that happened was I was baking something a few years ago in a big giant Pyrex dish, and when I went to get it out of the oven, it shattered into a million pieces. Well, it frightened the dogs to death. I mean, it frightened them. They remember the smell of the oven. They remember the noise. They remember the noise of me opening the oven door. Now that's a memory for them. And last night I was baking a strawberry galette, by the way.
Which is?
It's basically an open tart, and it's delicious, homemade from scratch, the whole crust and everything, beautiful. And the minute I opened the oven door, to turn the oven on, Thornton was just shaking because she just remembers what happened. Oh, and also when that happened, the smoke alarms went off. So she just can't take it. And the older she's got, the more she's become more nervous of noises. And of course, we know July the 4th is full of noises. Now, while people are getting ready to rock America's birthday, are you actually preparing for your pets? And
number 1 week for animals running away.
Well, that's right. So here's what I wanted to do was put some tips together for you. Just kind of put the fun to one side for a moment and remind everyone that Independence Day sees more lost pets than any other day of the year in the United States. Last year, just in our city alone, 500 pets found themselves, unfortunately, at the local shelter here in Vegas. It's an unacceptable amount because it can be prevented. And this is where I want to help you out with some of these tips. And it's through no fault of their own that these pets end up in one of the most scariest places. So not only are they scared to death from fireworks going off, not just the sound, but the visual aspect of it, but then they get picked up by a stranger. They end up in a strange place at the shelter with other frightened animals. Terrible, 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 terrible. And you can prevent all of that. That's the good news. So what I want to ask all pet parents is to take some extra precautions to keep your furry family members safe and calm. And I've put together some tips to prevent your pets from being a July the 4th statistic and how to approach this celebration with a kind of a holistic approach, which is I'm going to give you a bunch of stuff. You might find that one thing works, or you might find that doing everything works. But everything is worth the try just so that your pets can have an enjoyable July the 4th. So here we go. First thing, like Jim said, they run away. Padlock your gates so that your pets cannot run away. It'll be the best $2, £2, 2 yen, whatever, that you spend to secure your garden. Now, bear in mind, if you have services that come to the house, for example, you have a gardener, you have a bug guy, you have a window guy that comes, and certainly when they come at this time of year, please make sure that your doggy doors are closed and that they lock the gate and you check that the gate is locked. So when they come for these services, your pets are inside. That's a big reason why pets run away, that gates are left open. Doggy doors are left open and gates are left open, and it's a terrible situation. Again, preventable.
The people need to have protocols.
They need protocols. We have protocols at our house.
You've developed a series of protocols.
You do, and you never sway from them, do you, Jim?
I never do.
Never sway. Never change your habits. Never, because then you will not make a mistake. Never change your habits. For us, we come in our house through our garage. Only till the minute the garage door hits the ground do we open the door to go into the house. Our dogs are fast, especially that Mr. Twix. He'll try and get through your legs and he'll be gone. So make sure you have these routines and you stick to them religiously.
Like I have a protocol for where I put my wallet and my keys.
Yes.
And if I don't put it in the same place every day, I can't find it.
Yeah.
But you don't have a protocol for keys.
It's okay. I have 2 sets of keys. I'm good.
Sometimes you don't know where one set is for months at a time.
I do all the time.
You need a protocol for that.
My life doesn't depend on it.
Well, you have other
my
protocols.
pets' lives depend on me closing the gates and the garage door.
You might need that protocol someday.
Here's another thing. And you've got time to do this because it's Friday. It's not. It's Friday. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. So you've got a couple of days. So pick up a padlock, dead cheap. Make sure your pet's chip info is up to date. So get online. if you've got a new pet and you've just rescued them, or you've just some people go to breeders, as we know, make sure they're chipped. Check. Sometimes they'll come chipped. Check that it is your information and it has been registered. Do not always count on it being registered. So you take action yourself. Go online, check, make sure it's up to date. Make sure your information is up to date as well. Also, make sure they've got a tag on their collar. Now, if you find that they've lost their tag and you don't have time to get down and get a tag, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get a felt tip pen, a marker pen, and you're going to write on the inside of the collar. You're going to write their information, you're going to write your information. So there's no excuse not to have that information on your pets. Here's what is very good. You can actually get that information embroidered onto a soft collar, so you don't even have to get a tag.
That's pretty cool.
It's a great idea. It's a really great idea. They're fairly common, so you can get that embroidered on there as well. Makes it super easy. My dogs would never cope with anything jingling and jangling on their necks, so they have a slide-on tag, and that will not fall off. It's a slide-on tag. It's metal. Doesn't make any noise. Not going to come off. So that's how you're going to make sure that your pets have identification, because that's the first thing. If I find a lost dog, I'm looking for a tag. I'm looking to see if there's anything else on the collar, and then I'm whizzing them down to the vet or your local pet store, because usually they will have a scanner, and they can scan to see if there's any information. So if they're up to date, chances of being reunited are very, very good. Now, like Jim said, we opt to stay at home because fireworks are very scary for Thornton. And to be honest with you, there's nothing better than hanging out with your pets anyway.
Hanging out with you is better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're so nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to buy you lunch? Okay.
And then I'll pay.
So if you're going to stay home, there's some great things. Yeah, you'll pay. If you're going to stay at home, this is a great thing to do. And that is create a safe space for your pets in your home, away from noise if you possibly can. For mine, it would be the studio because of the soundproofing would be perfect. And this just popped into my mind. I wonder if those white noise machines work.
Oh, it's a white noise machine.
You never heard of white noise machine?
No.
Search it on your phone there, Jim. Search it on your phone, a white noise machine. People use them so they can sleep because any little noise will keep them awake. I wonder if it works for pets. That would be incredible, although they do have hearing that's far superior to ours. But give them a safe space. Lots of pets like their beds. They like their crates. They like a smaller space. Whatever it is you need to do it for them, whether it's bringing up their dog bed onto the sofa. That might work as well. But it's their little space. And what you're trying to do is eliminate as much noise as possible and distract them the best way you can. Fireworks are so loud. It sounds like a war zone here in Vegas. I mean, it's horrible. Now, what's making all that noise are illegal fireworks. Now they've got an initiative they're starting this year, and they're really clamping down on it. And if you don't know what illegal fireworks are in Vegas, in the state of Nevada, it is anything that explodes and anything that goes up in the air. So pretty much everything that happens on July the 4th evening. Did you know that?
No, I don't know anyone who's been arrested for shooting off illegal fireworks in my whole life.
This is the first year Metro are clamping down and encouraging the public to call in. And they are going to charge people. It's simple as that. Because they're also thinking about kids' safety, pet safety. It's, and it's only supposed to go till midnight. Last year, 4 a.m., still going on. It was horrendous. I couldn't stand it. Pets or no pets, I can't stand all that. I'd rather go to an organized firework display because they're, one, way better than anything you can do yourself at home. So where was I going with this? Oh, so you want to try and get rid of this noise. Music's a great thing. Their favorite toys are maybe a new toy because they'll have a great interest in a new toy, and raw chew bones. Raw chew bones seem to do the trick for us because they're tasty cakes.
That's a good idea.
It's a great idea, isn't it? Now, something you may or may not have heard of is a Thunder Jacket. That's the actual brand name. And a Thunder Jacket is based on compression. and compression makes your pets feel good. Now, think about this, and we're going to talk about this after the next break. Have you ever done this? So you put your pets between your legs, your dogs, and a little bit, just squeeze them a little bit, and they're so happy, they relax, and they're comfortable. Well, that's part of the Temple Grandin method. And think about this. When you don't feel good or you're frightened, what do you do? Someone comes and gives you a hug, hold your hand, you feel better. You jump into their arms because you're frightened, but you do feel better. And it's about squeeze, compression, and it does make them feel better. So the Thunder Jacket is based on that. There's a compression component to it. We've seen great results with Thornton. Now, if you can't get your hands on a Thunder type jacket, no worries, because there is a DIY version using a stretch bandage, which anybody can buy. And you put it on in kind of a figure-of-8 situation. And it's, I say, based on the Temple Grandin method. She was a professor of animal sciences. Well, she still is, sorry. And has researched this method of compression. And her advice is to wrap your pets for about 20 to 30 minutes, then remove it for an equal period of time, and then just rinse and repeat, basically. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Temple Grandin after the break. Very interesting woman and some of her discoveries. Now, there are flower remedies. Most people will be familiar with Rescue Remedy. Rescue Remedy, you administer with a dropper, and you can put it on their faces, and it helps them relax. So you can do an oral and some on the face, and it's a calming aid. Now, of course, we talked about a good old cuddle and a little squeeze, and just put them on your lap. There's a myth that's been going around forever. Oh, and this started with a famous, and I'm doing air quotes here, trainer, who said, don't acknowledge that your pets are frightened. I mean, what do your pets do when they're frightened? They come straight up to you. They want to be with you. They want you to help them, yeah? And so to ignore them does not help. And by helping them, by squeezing them, giving them a cuddle, picking them up, does not reinforce fear, period, because the fear is already there. So that's a myth. So when they do come up to you and they want to be on your lap, put them on your lap. Really simple. Here's something that a friend of ours does, because she had a rescue dog that was very, very traumatized in the first place. And then you put something like a thunderstorm on top of fireworks, and it was just a horrific situation. You can't have your pets shaking and scared for hours on end. It goes on for hours, doesn't it, Jim?
Yeah.
3 days ago we had fireworks.
Yeah,
I mean, it
started this week.
It's horrible. Would you want to be shaking and in fear for hours and hours and hours on end? So what she actually did was she went up into the mountains. No joke. She went up into the mountains. She said, where it's quiet. And that's what we did. She said, naturally, we could see the fireworks from way far off, but we couldn't hear them. And she said, that's what I did for my dog. And because she knew it would be hours and hours and hours of a really terrified dog. Of course, never leave them unattended. When you know that you've got pets that are going to be frightened, don't leave them at home by themselves. I mean, we've been invited. We're invited to parties all the time on July the 4th, and we decline them because we know it's responsible for us to be at home with our pets. So I hope you find these tips easy to follow. It just takes a little bit of time, couple of dollars, couple of pounds, to prevent your furry friends from being scared and running away. And it's more of a holistic approach to it. It's what you can do, on the day. Some people, that's the only day they have to deal with this. Any other time of the year, they're fine. There is some training that you can do to desensitize to noises, but how are you going to replicate fireworks? I mean, you can't replicate fireworks and thunder. You can train dogs to walk, alongside traffic and those kind of things and desensitize. But it's most people are not going to do that, unfortunately. And unfortunately, this is the only day that they have to deal with this. So there are some suggestions for you. Holistic approach. Try everything you possibly can. See what sticks. A little bit of training, a little bit of being physical with them, distractions, things they can take orally. I mean, there's a lot there. And the compression, and that's got science behind it, and there's no arguing that. As I say, not everything works, so just try what you can. And let me know what works for you. Hopefully your pets all of a sudden just decide, I'm not bothered by any of that noise anyway. But we do wish you all a great July the 4th. As I say, we are going to the parade and we'll bake watching the parade. Even though it's at 9 a.m., it's going to be hot.
We won't go to the soaker zone.
You want to go to the soaker zone?
We'd have to wear bathing suits.
You don't.
If you want to get soaked.
No, you don't. You just have to be prepared to be wet.
Well, you'll have to bring a change of clothes then.
Oh, no. Hello. We're at 115 degrees. Dries in 2 seconds. But I don't mind sitting in a soaker zone. I really don't, because it's hot right now. And on that note, actually, make sure your pets are inside. And we went through a period last week, no walks. We couldn't walk. It was too hot on the ground. It was too hot in the air. And it was just miserable beyond. Hopefully, when a temperature is going to drop for us, because it needs to be really soon. Where's my monsoon? Where's our monsoon?
I don't know.
It normally happens in June.
Yet.
I thought it happens in June, towards the end of June.
It's not here yet.
I feel like I'm being ripped off because I do love a monsoon, I must admit. Well, on that note, when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about why dogs are frightened of fireworks and a little bit more about Temple Grandin and who this fascinating woman is. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome to Barking Dog Self-Washing Grooming, your one-stop shop for all your pet's needs. We offer premium natural pet foods, full-service grooming, and an on-site bakery and boutique. You can choose to self-wash your dog or schedule a luxury pampering with our professional groomers. Visit our Cool Cat section offering feline food, toys, bedding, and litter, while the adventurous dog department has everything you need for your outdoor activities. And don't forget Cody's Healing Garden, featuring flower, aromatherapy, and herbal remedies for pets. Find us at www.barkingdogslv.com, and we look forward to seeing you in our neighborhood.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. Here we go. So let's talk about why dogs are afraid of fireworks. If you're just listening in for the first time, welcome to the show. And we're talking about July the 4th. We're talking about fears that dogs have of thunderstorms, fireworks, sound of lightning, the look of lightning, what fireworks, when dogs look at them, what that means. It's a lot of different things. It's not just about sound, because we've got July the 4th coming up. Big celebration in the United States, and it's on everyone's mind who loves animals as to how we keep them from being frightened to death. Well, anyway, there's this study. It came out of the University of Bristol School of Veterinary Sciences, and this was 2013. They did some research, and their findings discovered that the most common trigger in pets who were fearful were
noise,
fireworks. Specifically fireworks.
Because it's got a certain concussion in the air compression.
That's a good word. That's a good word, Jim. And as a result of that, you're going to see trembling. Your pets running to you for comfort. They might start destroying things, ripping toys up. They may...
Heavy panting.
Yeah, heavy panting, urination, salivating, and trembling. Trembling's... Oh, Thornton yesterday was trembling when I was taking that thing out the oven, and I swear I could hear her toenails tapping on our floor. Like, I thought first of all, what's that noise? When I turned, I thought, oh my gosh, she's behind me. She's frightened to death, poor thing, because she has that memory of the exploding Pyrex dish. We've had weird stuff. We've had an exploding Pyrex dish, and we had a saucepan that the metal melted in when I picked it up off
it
the.
looked like a foundry.
It did when I lifted the saucepan off the top of the oven, off the ring. The metal was dripping. I couldn't believe it, and then it scared me. I thought, you know what? Did our oven malfunction, and it could have burnt the whole house down?
It was an electric cooktop.
It was, wasn't it?
It was an aluminum bottom pan.
Was it?
So yeah, weird.
It was very strange.
Weird. It was like
it was a Farberware pan.
Like total. It was like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, it was a Farberware pan. It wasn't any cheapo Nepo thing. Couldn't believe it. Anyway, that opening of the oven is the one that's frightened Thornton ever since. Well, this is what they found. They discovered a correlation between changes in a dog's environment and fear. Dogs raised by same owners who bred them were less likely to be afraid of noises later in life. The researchers noted that hunting breeds such as Labs and Springer Spaniels were not as sensitive, and that crossbreeds were likely to be more fearful. And then in 2015, the Norwegian University of Life Sciences in Oslo did a study on noise sensitivity, found out that certain dogs are fearful might have more to do with biology than environment, and it's your pet's genes. The researchers took over 5,000 dogs from 17 breed clubs across the country, and they looked at 4 types of loud sounds that scared pets, and they were fireworks, loud banging, thunder, and traffic. 23% of the dogs showed fearful responses in one or more of the categories.
Well, that's interesting because that's like almost like a tool. Like if you're going to get a pet and you live in a certain kind of environment, you maybe want to consider, hey, that breed might not be good because we live around a lot of traffic noise.
Yes.
We live around a lot of airplanes.
Well, we had a lot of banging yesterday because there's something going on our street with the what is it?
The water main.
The water main. And last week they dug up a giant hole across the street from our neighbours. And then yesterday they came back because I could hear that big loud banging and knocking. And again, the dogs were scared because they didn't know what the heck was going on. And they were digging up the street again. So yeah, we've had quite the week of it, I must admit. So that they were the 4 things: fireworks, loud banging, thunder, and traffic that they tested these dogs on. The results showed a marked correlation between breeds and noise-sensitive fearfulness. Norwegian Boohuns, Shiba Inus, and soft-coated Wheaten Terriers were more fearful. Pointers, Great Danes, Boxers, and Chinese Cresteds showed the least amount of fear. So Dr. Stanley Corran, he wrote that there is a genetic predisposition. There might also be a hormonal factor. Very interesting. Female dogs were about 30% more likely to be afraid. Neutered dogs were 72% more likely to be scared. 3% increase in sensitivity in older dogs. That I will say we noticed ourselves with Galaxy and Miss Thornton. They did get more sensitive to sound. Dr. Corran also noted that loss of hearing offsets that increase somewhat. And dogs can be afraid of both fireworks and thunder, yet those noises do sound quite different to dogs. Thunder has a reasonable explanation. The low rumble sounds like a throaty growl, like a huge dog, he said. And fireworks are also loud, but have a sharp component as well. What did you say? Concussion.
Mm-hmm. Very.
So this may not be an experience-related issue. It could be like with Thornton, absolutely it is. It could be they've had an experience before where something exploded in the house and now they're frightened of that. Or it could be their breed, it could be their gender, it could be their age.
Well, their ears, I mean, they're so sensitive.
So sensitive, yeah. If you think it's loud for you, wow. You don't even know, do you, what a dog's dealing with. Someone mentioned there's doggy headphones. I don't see my two keeping them on their heads. Do you, Jim?
One of the listeners just mentioned that too.
No, someone online this week. Oh. Someone in a pet entrepreneur group. But yeah, I can't see Mr. Twix keeping that on his head. Oh, that'd be the first thing he would drag off. So
and chew.
And chew. It's very interesting that it may not be just born from an experience. It may be age, gender, and breed. Amazing, absolutely amazing, interesting research. Okay, so we've talked about Temple Grandin. That's actually her name. Her first name is Mary Temple Grandin. She was born in 1947. She's still alive today, I'm happy to say. She's an American professor of animal science at Colorado State University. And she is also a spokesperson on autism. She is one of the first individuals on the autism spectrum to publicly share insights from her personal experience of autism. She invented the Hug Box, and it's a device to calm those on the autism spectrum. Yeah, she was born with autism, and she was when she was born with it. Obviously, they probably didn't know what autism was back in, because she's 66 now, I think. And her dad, when she was born, he wanted to put her into an institution.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the culture of the day.
Yeah.
If you weren't whole, you had to be
Yeah,
taken care of by some other group.
terrible, isn't it? And, you know, obviously there were lots of struggles for her growing up and socialization and all those kind of things. And at the age of 14, she was sent to her aunt's ranch. Yeah. And as it happened, the ranch was quite a turn for her. Not only did she do very well and she was thriving and she was looking after aunt's horses, which are very therapeutic anyway, she also began to feel a very special bond with the cattle on the ranch as well. And she felt that she was more peaceful with animals than she was with people. Well, yeah, I'll agree with that. She discovered the cattle were a little bit like herself. So she compared herself to the cattle, where they would be very unsettled by unexpected sounds and motions, anything that was different. But she also found that from that, they have that chute that they pass through, that squeeze chute they pass through when they go to get vaccinated. She noticed that they calm down because there's a little bit of pressure as they go through that chute. They walk through it. Yeah. Okay. She was fascinated by this whole chute, and she persuaded, get this is just blows my mind. She persuaded her aunt to let her try out the chute herself. But there was this dramatic change and a dramatic soothing of her nerves without it being a human giving her a hug. Like we talked about earlier, she didn't want to be hugged by a human, but she found that this pressure made her feel much calmer and much settled. And the scientifically minded Temple, she sets about constructing her own, what she called a squeeze machine. And she would get inside and she'd lie on her front, and it was a chamber, and she would pull a cord that applied pressure from panels on either side and calm her very, very overactive nervous system. This is amazing. I mean, it's amazing what she came up with. So she graduated school in Arizona State University. That's where she graduated from. And she finally found a voice, and it was researching animal behavior and working in these feed yards of the livestock and in the industry as part of her postgraduate research. And she began to feel like cattle and other animals relied on some visual cues to get around their world. Yeah. Okay. And so animals, she believes animals through her research are sensory thinkers. They think in pictures too, and in smells and in sounds. And this is how she says she thinks. She thinks in pictures. Someone could say to her, let's talk about a church, and most people will go, I have a church in their head with a steeple. But she would see a variety of images in her mind of different churches, all types of churches from different eras and different designs and stuff like that. Huh. So it's kind of an overload as well, thinking in these pictures. So she also had this affinity with the cattle, and she always tried to see things from their perspective. I mean, she would be in the feed yards, and she would go into those chutes, and she would come down to their level, and she would try and see what their viewpoint was. And she says, you remember the cattle were afraid of a puddle or a chain that would be hanging down or a person that was walking by. And she just said it was important to see what the cattle were seeing so that she could understand what made them very, very anxious and very, very nervous. And so it was a very unique perspective. And she started to write these highly rated articles for livestock magazines. She changed the livestock industry. She really did. And so when it comes to, fireworks, I mean, she's such an incredible woman. There's so much she's written. There's so much written about her. And there's a movie and there's a TED Talk that you will find so fascinating about how she thinks and views things and how it relates to animals. You'll be amazed. And you'll be amazed by her look, because she looks like a cowgirl from the 1950s.
Wow.
This is a woman who is her own woman. And that, I love it. She makes no excuses. This is how I am. I've got autism, and this is how she explains how she lives, thinks, feels, all those things, and how she's applied that to animals as well. So she did write a paper. So when it comes to fireworks, as I'm bringing it back to noise and how animals react to that, she wrote a paper and said when animals form a fear memory, it's located in the amygdala, which is the lower primitive part of the brain. I hope I'm saying that right. If any brain surgeons are listening in. Amygdala, I think it is the lower primitive part of the brain, and they discovered that fear memories cannot be erased from the brain.
Wow. So they don't have a coping skill once they trigger that memory.
Once it triggers, yes. So she said this is why it is important to prevent the formation of fear memory. So she changed how cattle were moved on these cattle farms, and how they went in for food and how they went in for vaccinations and those kind of things, and eliminated lots of those fears, because how was anyone going to remove that memory out of the brain when you cannot remove the memory? So I think that goes right back to dogs being fearful. What can you do? Can you remove those things that frighten them? Yes, you can. Can you and the dog go somewhere else and get out of the situation? A very, very, very interesting woman. Now, you can find her on the TED Talks. So fascinating. And her name is Temple Grandin, Grndin. You'll find that there. Also, there's a movie that was made about her with Claire Danes playing Temple herself. And again, another fantastic movie. These links, everything that we talk about, we'll put up on Facebook.
This all reminds me, when we were kids, we'd go to dairy farms.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of dairy farms around where my dad's family comes from. And when you're out in the field, and you're on a little trail, usually it's a cow trail, and that's the trail the cows use to make their way back into the barn when it's milking time.
Yeah.
And when you're out in the field with the cows, there's a certain vibe and a certain relaxed sense. Cows are pretty relaxed. Even if they start trotting down a big line and they're huge, it could be scary.
Yeah.
But when they all get into the barn and it's like milking time, there's like an energy. It's like the difference between the city and the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you get inside the milking stalls and there's like a vibe.
There's a whole different story
it's
going
like
on.
Chaos.
Yeah.
And I could see, because we would walk through there and we were like, okay, well, you gotta walk gently, and you don't want to frighten them from behind because you didn't want to get kicked or something or pooped on.
Have you ever been pooped on by a cow?
Close and peed on.
I bet you've trodden in a cow pat, haven't you?
We helped save a calf once. Did I ever tell you that story?
No, tell me. Is it a long story?
No, we were heading to the cabin and had to go through the dairy farms and whatnot to get up to the mountains. And
this is in Pennsylvania, by the way.
And it was my dad and my brother and I, and we were on our way to the cabin, and a farmer stepped out in the middle of the road waving his hands, and we stopped. And he said he had a calf that had stopped breathing.
Oh,
and
my!
He needed our help, and he had a calf in a pen in his barn. And so we stopped the car and we ran into the barn because the farmer was by himself, and he basically walked us through everything we needed to do. Basically, like one of us had to hold the calf here, and one of us had to hold the calf by its head and kind of shield its eyes. And the farmer had a garden hose, and it was something was wrong with the stomach.
Oh,
it was a bloat or something.
Oh.
And so we held the calf down while the mother was in like another pen crying.
Oh.
And the farmer took a garden hose into the calf's stomach to relieve the pressure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How old were you?
12 or 14.
Were you scared or excited?
No, it was fun.
You couldn't believe wait to tell your friends?
It was fun.
That's amazing. You saved a baby cow.
I think that was the same day my brother and I, we would stop the car every once in a while. We'd see cows in the field and we'd run up to them and see them, in the field.
Yeah.
And my dad stopped the car once, and we stopped to go see the cows or the horses in the field. And as we were running toward them to watch them, we ran right into an electric fence. It's not funny.
Did he throw you backwards?
If you've ever run into an electric fence, you never forget that feeling of being electrified. I mean, it's wow. I mean,
I was not expecting that. You didn't tell your mom, did you?
Yeah, we probably told her. I don't remember.
She probably lost her mind. Oh my
God. That was an experience. I'll never forget
that. I like that story. Well, my last story. It really does tie into what we've been talking about today, which is looking after your animals, being kind to them, considering them. And did you know that monkeys and dogs judge humans by how they treat others? Did you know that? So no matter how you are treating your pets and other people, they're watching you to decide whether they like you or not. And I watched the video. It is brilliant. Dogs have evolved to be extremely sensitive to our behavior, and of course they have over time. They've been domesticated for such a long time, and they're very in tune with us. They're probably more in tune with us than we are with them, because they watch every move and feel everything, and they're brilliant dogs. But it says be nice, because your dog may judge you. This link's going to go on Facebook, because you are going to want to watch this video. Both pets and monkeys show a preference for people who help others, and this might explain the origins of our sense of morality. Studies involving babies have previously shown by the age of 1, humans are already starting to judge people by how they interact. And this has led to suggestions that children have a kind of innate morality that predicates their being taught how to behave. I know it's very different between genders too, because there's a fantastic show on on Channel 4 in England called Secret Lives of I think it's 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. And they do social experiments basically of how kids behave, and they found that they had the lady that was dealing with the kids. She made some lemonade, purposely made it horrible with loads of salt. Had the boys try it and see how the boys reacted. Did the same with the girls, and the girls were much nicer about the lemonade. They actually didn't want to hurt her feelings, so they said it was nice and delicious, but they'd had enough, maybe a bit too many lemons. It was actually full of salt, but the boys were like, ew, this is disgusting.
Yeah,
and the
right.
boys weren't so kind.
Or you could say the boys were more truthful.
Well, they wondered, because of what they saw in children, would it be the same with other species, to make these social evaluations. And they began this testing, and they used capuchin monkeys, which are those cute little monkeys, and wanted to know whether they would have a preference for people who helped others. And so they watched an actor struggle to open a container with a toy inside, and this is on the video itself. Then this actor presented the container to a second actor who would either help or refuse to assist in opening this canister. And afterwards, both actors offered the monkey food, and the monkey chose to take the food from the person that offered to help open up the canister. It's so great to watch. It really is. And so when that person was helpful, the monkey showed no preference between accepting the reward from the struggler or the helper. It was a no contest situation. It was like, you helped? Yeah, I like you. But when the companion refused to help, the monkey more often took food from the struggler, the people who struggled. So it's very, very, very interesting. They also did a little research on the attitude of fairness with these monkeys as well. So in this test, they had 2 actors that had 3 balls each. And actor A requested balls from actor B, who handed over 3 balls. And then when actor B requested balls from A, and A either gave 3 balls back or no balls back. Lastly, both actors offered the monkeys a reward as they did before. And they had no preference when the actor gave back 3 balls, but chose actor B more often when A would not return the balls. They didn't like that.
We do fairness when we give treats.
Yeah, we do.
One to this one, one to
yeah,
that.
you got to be fair. I
wonder if they know fairness.
Well, they do. They sit there and go, "Where's mine? Excuse me, you mean person.
Yeah, but
where's my treat?"
If they were the only one there and you gave them one treat, they would go, "Where's my next one?"
Well, that's true. Well, I would too, especially if they're tasty salmon treats like we've been giving them recently. So finally, the researchers tested whether these dogs, and they did with dogs, preferred people who helped their owner. Yeah, so each owner tried to open this canister, and again, if you didn't help, they didn't like you. I just thought it was great. I thought it was really great. When 2 people were equally offering these rewards to the dog, they said, which one of you helped my pet parent? Oh, you did. Okay, I'll go to you. And it's such an interesting video to watch. And now there's an emotional response to this, of course. Anderson thinks that the results show that monkeys and dogs make social evaluations in a similar way to human infants. And if somebody is behaving antisocially, they will probably end up with some sort of emotional reaction to it. Monkeys in the wild are less likely to use similar processes. to decide which members of the group they can cooperate with, said primatologist Franz de Waal of Emory University in Georgia, and it was written about the origins of morality. Chances are that if these animals can detect cooperation tendencies in human actors, they can also probably do it in their fellow primates, he said. And dogs' long relationship with humans means they've evolved to extremely sensitive to our behavior, and not just to the dog, but also to other humans. And our own sense of morality may even have its roots in these sorts of primitive evaluations of others. And Anderson says, I think that in humans, there may be this basic sensitivity towards antisocial behavior in others, and then throw growing up enculturation and teaching.
What the heck word is that?
No, enculturation.
Never heard it.
And teaching, we can check that word, make sure it's real. It develops into a full-blown sense of morality. So I thought it was great. I think you'll really enjoy that video. All links, everything we talk about on the show will go up on our Facebook page. The actual tips for July 4th will go up on our blog page later on today. Blog post, and that is the rockandrolldog.com. And I think you'll find all of this very, very interesting. All ties into just basically being considerate and helping our pets. And our pets are watching us. Making a judgment. They're so smart, aren't they? Well, I hope you've liked today's show. As I say, it's a big weekend. The partying starts. Well, actually, the partying started last night at midnight because Nevada legalized marijuana.
Recreational.
Yes, recreational. We've had medical.
Today.
We've had medical marijuana, and now recreational. It was at midnight last night. Hundreds of people out there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And the reason I bring up cannabis is because we're going to bring an expert on the show in the coming weeks to talk about cannabis and pets. And whatever you do, especially if you're in Nevada, never, ever, ever give pets your cannabis, and don't give them access to it, because there are products on the market for our pets that are not. It's not the cannabis that you would use yourself, and it can be very dangerous to your pets. And so we'll bring an expert on. You'll get to learn about some of the products that are out there and the benefits of it, any kind of pros and cons. And I think that will be a very interesting show, as it is definitely a trend product right now, is cannabis treats to help pets with anxiety and all manner of other things. So it's coming up. So big weekend. I hope everybody has a safe July the 4th. Follow the tips and your pets will be safe, and you'll be able to thoroughly enjoy the big, big celebration. How many years old is America, Jim?
200 and...
Oh, don't tell me you don't know.
41.
You sure?
241.
It doesn't seem a lot when you come from England, does it? Our English listeners are going, what? That's only a couple of centuries. That's nothing. Well, if you have liked today's show and you're listening to the show on your smartphone, whether it's live or whether it's on a podcast, there's always an option to share the show directly with your friends on social media. And we love a good old share. And make sure you post pictures of your pets on our Facebook page, Vegas Rock Dog Radio. So remember, you can help your animal in need. Either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, or share their information, and really prepare them for any kind of big celebration that involves loud noises. Rescue your next family member. Replace the word shop with adopt, and be kind to all animals. Thank you for being my co-host today, Jem. It's wonderful. We're actually going to make our way down and pick up Mr. Twix from the groomers and see how fabulous he looks. Take a minute to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And we hope you have a great day. Today you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio, where it's all about pets, people, and pop culture. And I'm your host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. And always kiss your pets good morning and good night. And I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Visit Vegas Rock Dog Radio for more information. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And remember, give your fur babies a big kiss from me, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. You must not rely on the information in this broadcast from our hosts as an alternative to medical advice from your veterinarian. If you have any specific questions about a medical matter regarding your pets, you should consult your veterinarian or specialist.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.